the speechiness on the end of his phrase. Like, are you kidding me? Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever applies to you. Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Julia. I'm a contemporary singing specialist based in Australia. And today I am checking out Iron Maiden yet again. We had our first time reaction a little while ago with Hallowed Be Thy Name. I got to listen to Bruce's voice, some incredible sustains, vibrato, the energy as a performer just off the charts, and also listen to the incredible music that makes up that song for Iron Maiden. So I knew I wanted to check out some more music, and today I am diving on into Fear of the Dark. This is the live at Rock in Rio version, so I'm hoping this is a good version, but I guess we are gonna find out. All right, let's go.
In the black, or just a fear of the dark. Man who walks alone when I'm walking a dark road, night are strolling through the park. When the light begins to fade, sometimes feel a little strange, a little anxious when it's dark. Fear of the dark, fear of the dark. A constant fear that something's always there. Fear of the dark. You, fear of the dark. Have a phobia. Someone's always there.
That storytelling. The way in which he is varying the intensity in his sound from his consonants to how much energy he's putting into his vowel work with breathiness as well added in there. The storytelling is incredible. Already though, I just wanted to actually mention that the melody on the guitar was beautiful, and I loved seeing that crowd interaction yet again. They're singing the guitar melody. That to me is almost magical, because usually you're used to crowds singing along with vocalists, and for a melody to stick with people so much that they just have to express themselves vocally, I think that's beautiful. His speech quality, the way in which he lures you into this story by varying his volume on certain sentences, it's almost like you get people's attention more by being slightly quieter. And then people are listening because they want to hear what it is you're going to say. Similar dynamic choices are what he is doing in this performance, and he's doing it really well. I almost wasn't anticipating the darkness that he was trying to put into this sound. The way in which you achieve that is you can kind of lower your jaw and stick your tongue slightly further back. It did sound like it was a manufactured darkness at some times, which is that tongue movement that I was talking about. And it's a little different to the kind of darkness that I heard in his sound in Hallowed Be Thy Name, because his vowel work was a lot more open. He wasn't quite as speech dominant. Yes, speech quality was part of his vocal delivery at the start of Hallowed Be Thy Name, but in this one, we're very much keeping it to a consonant dominant, very conversational like phrasing in the beginning of this particular song. So that's really cool to see it start off with a story. Like, we're getting this storytelling and this imagery. It's like invoking the other senses as well. Anxiety, being out and something doesn't quite feel right because it is dark and you can't see. Like, I'm already involved. I'm invested in this story. I got to know how it ends.
Fear of the dark.
That laugh too. I forgot about that. That was great. Oh, he really does sound like a character.
Fear of the dark. Have a phobia. Someone's always
There. We've gone to a Fry type of approach. We've squeezed up the pharynx. God, he's working these articulators for everything that he can because it's so expressive what it is that he's doing. I feel like I'm going to be talking about storytelling a lot in this song, but for now I'm just going to keep listening and I'll just have to sit on my hands or something.
dark. Have a phobia. Someone's always there.
Oh, whoa, okay.
Now you run your fingers down the wall, and you felt your neck skin crawl when you're searching for the right. Sometimes when you stand and take a look at the corner of the room, it sense that something's watching you. Fear of the dark. Fear of the dark. I have a constant fear that something's always near. Fear of the dark. Fear of the dark. I have a phobia that someone's always there.
I'm finding it incredible how he can make these closed off sounds in order to be expressive with his storytelling. Yes, this real squeeze that's happening in his pharynx. And then his vowel work on his belt, which is higher up in his range, is freer. We have this, yes, ringy pinginess to it. There's a metallic quality coming through in there, which does require a slightly tightened pharynx, but you probably couldn't achieve the freedom of vibrato with the same pharyngeal squeeze that he had lower down in his range. So he is managing this sound, which is quite squeezed actually in moments when he's being really expressive and he's getting this breathiness and this kind of feeling happening in his vocal delivery lower down on certain words. Lots of heavy plosives on some of his consonants again. So things like this K sound. We've got this velar plosive, tongue up to the soft palate, and it builds up pressure and we get this as it comes out. So he's really leaning into some of these consonants as well. But he has this squeeze lower down going on, and then he just opens up the pitches that he's getting to. They almost sound like he should be carrying up tension, but he's not. He's not carrying up tension. And it sounds great. It sounds great. This freedom to his vowel work. I mean, we still have compression there. It's a contemporary sound. You want it to have a metallic quality. Yes, otherwise it's going to sound not like it's suitable for the style. But he's maintaining the intention of the very beginning of the song all the way through, and now we have these freedom in the vowels and the belt. It's great. Oh, feel change. Speechiness on the end of his phrase. Like, are you kidding me? This is such good storytelling, and the feel change, I wasn't expecting it, but you immediately fall into it. That was fun. And now we're back. These tempo changes too, like there are times where I'm like, are we speeding up deliberately? Are we dropping in and out of a different tempo? Are we changing the feel? Like, how are you choosing to interpret these changes in the music, because they're definitely there. And as musicians, they've got to stay on top of that and stay coordinated on top of that as well. It certainly keeps things interesting. Like my energy, I don't feel like I've lost energy this entire time. And there have been some pretty intense things going on in the music. Oh, okay. Key change. Sudden and unexpected. Let's keep going. This vibrato in his belt. He's been running around on this stage. He's been doing crowd engagement. Yes, you still have signs of tension coming from his initial approach because you need the metallic quality for it to sound stylistic. But this vibrato that is coming through after running around and doing all of that, like the stamina on this. Bruce, what's your workout plan? Damn. Speeding up. Did we hear there was a lot more grit in some of his delivery of one of those words there? I get moments of distortion from him. Sometimes I feel like it's almost like the microphone or whatever the recording is hasn't quite picked it up, because I did go and listen to the studio recording of Hallowed Be Thy Name afterwards, and there was a lot more distortion in his vocal approach on the actual studio recording track than in the live version that I listened to. But here I'm getting bits and pieces of his grit and distortion. It's coming through more in his speechy type of phrases. So when he's lower down his range, he's ending on something that is slightly more gritty, a little bit more distorted on the ends of certain phrases. And something else that I'm enjoying is just how speechy he's ending some of these phrases. He will literally end a phrase as if it's a spoken word. The pitch is there, but it's very spoken how he's come out of this phrase. This is really conversational, and again, it makes it engaging and it lets you follow it all the way down. I'm enjoying this performance. It's got so much energy to it. I mean, he's literally just run up on that stage and now he's back in another verse with those powerful vowels again. So you could hear that on near.
When I'm walking a dark road, I am a man who walks alone.
That was cool. And then we return to something that is so much warmer. It's such a lovely contrast to the metallic quality that winds up in his high energy belting. Actually, I really like this performance as a contrast to Hallowed Be Thy Name, because I feel like in Hallowed Be Thy Name, we got more of a demonstration of his sustain work and how he's able to just sit in these quiet sounds for a little bit of a longer time. Whereas in this one, we have so much energy almost the entire time. It was almost more about the feel and the tempo changes for me with this one. It's just how do you have the energy to keep up with all of this? And then he's singing and then he's calling out to the crowd, singing, calling out to the crowd. Like, if there had to be any observation at all from this particular performance, and I had it last time as well from Hallowed, but with this one, it's energy, energy, stamina, 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 and the storytelling elements. His speech work in his lower stuff when he was telling these stories, ability to open them into vowels, have a slightly darker tonality, going into something slightly breathy. I think that these are very effective, and I almost feel like this storytelling element, I hear it more in musical theater now as far as like modern styles go compared to perhaps more recently released music. Sometimes you can find someone who is highly expressive, but for someone to really truly hone in on the storytelling elements of their song, I do think that this was a great example of it, but I don't hear it quite as much in a lot of modern storytelling. And I think that's also just because the songwriting styles can also evolve and they can change. But I really enjoyed that aspect. It's the thing that stood out the most to me, and it made it so engaging to listen to Bruce again. And just to reiterate something that I said earlier, I really enjoyed the melody that was set up on the guitar, and then how it pulled back into something that felt like it was just an alternation between two main notes as the verse came in over the top of it. I thought that this set up a really cool feeling of endlessness. Does that make sense? Like I truly felt like because we had this repetition happening in the background, it was setting the scene for the story that Bruce was giving, is I guess what I was talking about. And I liked that integration there, how we did have the melody on the guitar and it came back around at the end, but it wasn't necessarily competing with the story that Bruce was telling until we went into the more melodic parts from when the instruments got to solo and then bringing it back at the end there. Anyways, that is it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. If you did enjoy this video, please be sure to give it a like, click the subscribe button and the bell notification beside it for more just like this one. As usual, I hope you're staying safe. I hope you are staying healthy, and I will see you next time. Bye. Cool. Why do I have Indiana Jones stuck in my head?